Staying low, Amy held her cutter blade like a bat as we reached our office aisle. So far, so good. I think Amy was my good luck charm. As I stepped into our row, she grabbed my arm and whispered, "Do you hear that? It's getting closer." The sounds of the guy getting chewed on? No. It sounds like someone mumbling. Oh no. I peeked over a cubicle wall and scanned the way. There was nothing there. When I came back down to Amy, sitting on the desk above her was a black and red beast crouched on all fours, with a face of a skinless demon dog. It was void of eyes, but covered in mouths of all shapes and sizes, and they were mumbling. I whispered, "Don't move. It's right above you." "What is?" "The mumbler." Distinctly different voices came from each of the creatures' mouths. As I stared at the beast, the muttering sentences of men's and women's voices got closer and more intimate, like each voice was whispering in my ear. I crouched low and slid the phone in my pocket. I slowly reached for Amy's hand as she curled her fingers around mine. "You really need a manicure," I said. "What are you talking about?" When I pulled her close, it wasn't her hand, it was the mumbler's. It lunged over Amy's shoulder, ramming me into the floor. Its skull clobbered the desk as I rolled underneath. I gripped my keyboard and shoved its claws away from my face. Amy drove the cutter blade into its back. It wailed in agony and jumped off me. On four legs, its hind end raised like a cat. Shit. It had a tail with more mumbling mouths. Amy backed away with her hands up. Her blade was stuck in the demon's spine. As it was about to pounce, I clubbered its skull with my keyboard. Keys flew everywhere as I pounded again and again until it stopped moving. I leaned on my knees and caught my breath. The creature's caved-in face still twitched. Covered in black and red blood, several mouths still mumbled. "Oh, I'm sorry," I said. "Can you repeat yourself?" I raised the keyboard one last time. "I can't quite make out what you said." Kablam! With one final swoop, I turned the monster's head to mush, the keyboard shattering into plastic pieces. I dropped what was left of the keyboard and straightened my tie. I came up with a satisfied smile, as I expected Amy to rush in my arms and smother me with a plethora of kisses and gratitude. But with her hands on her hips, she cast a look I'd expect from someone on the receiving end of a whoopee cushion. Hello? I just saved your life," I said. "Why are you looking at me like I pooped in your Cocoa Puffs?" She grabbed the handle to her cutter blade and pressed her heel to the dead beast's neck. With a strong heave, she yanked it out of the monster's spine. "You had a name for it," she said, staring me down. "You know what these things are." She poked my chest. "Ow!" I rubbed my poor sternum with a wounded sense of pride. "Why do I have the feeling this is all your fault, Roy?" You are totally wrong with that assumption," I said, following her to our office. "It's Biederman's fault. He started this whole mess by being a murderous asshole." When we got to my desk, there were bodies everywhere. Zoe and Micah were nowhere to be found. I grabbed my bag under the desk and threw the strap around my shoulder. I grabbed another keyboard, and it sparked an idea. I went to Micah's computer and took his designer Wacom tablet. It's a flat piece of strong plastic the artist drawn. I placed it against my forearm and wrapped a cord around them both, tying it tight. "What are you doing?" "It's a shield, see?" I moved my arm up and down. "For defense." "Yeah, I know what a shield is for, dummy. It's just a terrible idea. If a monster comes at me, its teeth will hit the shield instead of my arm. I call that strategic survival. When its teeth grab it, what then? It will either yank you around like a chew toy or rip off your arm." I thought about it for a moment, but only for a moment. That won't happen." "Good luck with that," she said. "You're a real William Wallace, aren't you?" "Every man dies. Not every man really lives." She rolled her eyes and headed to the back area of the office. The ceiling lights flickered on, but were dim, like their power was low. The whole area looked like a creepy-ass dim light at sundown in a zombie horror movie. "You're going the wrong way," I said, pulling out the map. "We have to go to the sub-level basement. The elevators are the other way." "There's a freight elevator in the back." "Oh shit," I said, Following her, I had no idea. When we reached the elevator, she smashed the down button. Wiping the mumbler's black blood off the blade onto her jeans, she said, "You need to tell me everything you know about this mess." As the freight elevator gears turned, slowly, I verbally vomited everything about the current situation, about Biederman, the vault, and the escaped Cranamagoo. My motor mouth puke fest was so quick and so fierce, it could be considered assault and battery with malicious intent to kill. When I was done, she nodded and grumbled. Honestly, she took it rather well. I think she understood the situation better than I did. The doors opened. We got in the elevator, and I held the gate to keep the door from closing. "You don't have to go with me," I said. "You can still get to safety," she scoffed. "Ugh. So you can save the day, take the credit, and get promoted?" She sighed. "I don't think so." "Wow, you are shrewd, lady." "What can I say?" She slung the cutter blade over her shoulder. "I'm a corporate gal." The gate closed, and the freight elevator shifted and moved. But like any shitty kind of day, it went the wrong way. I pressed the down button. "You pressed the wrong arrow," I said. "We're going up." "Excuse me, I think I know how to push a button." From the ceiling, blue slime dripped onto Amy's shoulder. Amy tried to wipe it off, but it stuck to her fingers. "Ah, that's nasty." She wiped her hand on my shirt. "Gee, thanks." "Which one of your horrifying childhood creations has blue slime?" None of them," I said, wiping it off my shirt. I raised my hand to the light. Tiny white flakes glistened inside the goo. "I don't remember any of them having—" A wave of heat blew over my face. Oh, God. No. No, 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 no! I pounded that down button like free Atari night at the Arcade Palace. Amy gave me an evil eye. "You know what it is, don't you?" "Maybe." I readied my keyboard, prepared to go down swinging. Let's just say I have a feeling this isn't going to end well.